Okay, what I wanted to do is this right here, where there's a little bit of a groove, if you can see that, next to the hole there. I wanted to create a groove there so that I could put a little piece to cover up the joint between two pieces. And so I made this little piece here to go in there. And what I did was, to create that groove, I made this jig here, and it has a board on it so that I could clamp it to the box that I'm making, like this. And then I put a clamp over here on this side, and then I routed it with this jig, and you can sort of see the jig that I used on it. And it's just wide enough for my router. Now here's my router down here, and it has a small little ring here, and then the router bit is sticking up just enough so that it will route that groove. You can get these anywhere, and this is an 1/8 inch router bit. You can get them usually like from Rockler, from Woodworker Supply. I've even seen them at Harbor Freight, but they come in a kit, and you get an 1/8 inch router bit. It comes with a carbide, solid carbide router bit, but that one broke really easily, so I just bought another 1/8 inch router bit, and it works pretty good. So, but it comes with a collar, and you can take this larger collar off here, this one around here, and you can take it off, and then you can use it without the collar or with the collar. I just chose to use it with that collar on it. So anyways, the bottom line is, after I routed that groove, I sanded this little piece. I cut it on my table saw first, and then I sanded it so it would just barely fit in. And then I'll glue that in. See if I can. Yeah, I'll glue that in so it'll stay a lot better. Alright, well, now we're going to look at how this turned out. Here's the tape that was on there. Just take it off. I use Gorilla Glue. Here's the tape that I put on the inside. And there's maybe a little bit of glue that showed up on the inside. But I can easily fix that. And so I'll do that, fix it, and then we'll come back and look at it a little bit. Okay, well, we're back here, and we're going to trim this little piece that I put in here. It's kind of delicate. This is this kind of wood is called Ziricote. Z-I-R-C-O-T-E, I believe it is. If it's not that, it's something similar. This is kind of delicate hardwood, because the thing about this kind of hardwood is it chips out really easy. So I'm just taking off just a little bit at a time. And when you're doing this kind of work, you have to make sure that your tools are really sharp. It's just too delicate. I'm just going to sand it. This is a sanding belt, and it's 60. And on this particular piece, there's a miter right here. So I'm trying to avoid the miter by holding it like this. And driving my sanding block parallel to the miter. Rest of it I'll get with my sander down here. Yeah, that's pretty good. Hi YouTube, this is T. Wagner here. Okay, what we're going to do today is I've already made this slot for my lid stay. This is called a Brusso lid stay. All right, they look like this. You have to route a groove 1/2 inch deep, and the one that I'm using is this one right here, a Brusso JB250. All right, when you get your instructions, they're going to look like this. And for the JB250, it's over here on this side. If I can figure it out, yeah. JB250 is over here on this side. And it tells you the dimensions that you're going to use to make your mortise. Now, I was going to use another method with these collars like this. I was going to use these collars to follow a mortise jig, but I didn't do it that way. What I did instead was I made this. This just barely fits in my box like this. And I'm not going to put it all the way in because it's too hard to get it out again. But all it is this piece right here is the piece that my router will ride on. And the router also is going to ride on this area right here. That makes the router a lot more stable. But you can figure out your own method. When this fits down in there, this part right here, it fits flush with the top of the box. See, it's just barely thick enough to fit in my box. And it's just a piece of scrap wood. But the way that I did this slot right here, I took my router after this piece was put in and I rested it on that piece, and then the router routed the groove. All right, and you have to take the router if you're going to put the fence, which is right here. This is the fence right here. If you're going to take the fence and put it on this side of your box, you have to pull the router toward you so that it won't go out of control. If you go the other way, it's going to route a crooked groove. So I just used that method with the fence. Now I made this fence out of 2 rods, and they fit into my Ryobi router. Now you may have a different router. A lot of them that I've seen have these rods like this, and these rods are just barely big enough to fit into the holes right here. And then there are 2 other holes on this end of it. All right, and then I've just made my own fence out of wood. And you can make it however you want to, but you have to measure very carefully to make your fence. So that's all, YouTube.